All right, what is going on, guys? It's Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we're going to go over all of the breaking stories that are coming out as we speak right now. We'll be right back right after this. Nothing in the show should be considered legal, medical, or financial advice. The views of the callers can differ considerably and do not necessarily reflect my opinion, Dex's opinion, or anyone else who works with the show. You should always do your own research and consult with professionals. The internet is full of fake news, so please take everything with a grain of salt. If you have not already, it helps us out if you end up going through any of our affiliates, and it helps you out if you end up protecting yourself against cybercrime. NordVPN is one of the best and one of the easiest to use. If you do not have a virtual private network, it protects your IP address, which is your online identity, which actually connects to your real address and everything else. It also connects to you. If you know anything about how they are data logging and basically getting your profiles down, you can prevent that by having a VPN. Nord is, again, one of the easiest. Download it. It's like an on switch and off switch. All you have to do. Go to marfooglenews.com/VPN. Not only will you get a giant discount on this, but you will also be helping us. I appreciate your support, and I appreciate everyone that goes through any of our affiliates. Can't say thank you enough. All right, what is going on, guys? It is Adam A.K. Marf, and this is Marfoogle News. Today, we have a lot to go over, and if someone shared my show with you, remember that we try to back up every single article, tweet, video, picture, document that we show you here today will be available over on marfooglenews.com. On top of also being able to sign up for our private email list, you can also go over and check out every single article, link, tweet that is there. That way you know exactly where your information is coming from. Now, it's all done by thumbnail. Consequences history has never seen. Quote or a prediction. Again, that is a direct line from Putin there. And then once you get to that website, you will see that we have everything there for your reading pleasure. So again, you can go back and retrospectively check our work and see if that we did everything correctly. Also, down once you hit a yellow bar, that will be the web-only content. That is stuff that is too hot for TV. That is the stuff that basically people are getting knocked off for, or politically too far to one direction for us to cover, again, without being neutral. Now, over on the right side, if you do want to support us, you can do so by, of course, any of our affiliates like EMP Shield. You can actually protect yourself. At the end of the show, there is an EMP Shield contest running. It just started yesterday. Again, these are always really popular because not everybody can afford an EMP Shield. It is one of the best ways to protect yourself against an actual EMP or a CME. And then, of course, Nord, and if you want to PayPal, you can. That's only if you want to and if you feel like supporting us. Other than that, we have a ton of just absolute treasure trove of cross-reference news on our website. Make sure to go over there. It's free to use. Again, it's a great resource. All right, let's bring in my co-host / internet brother, Dex James. What is going on, and how are you doing today?
Well, hello, Adam, and hello, Foogle fam. I am doing just fine.
Thank you, John Bernardo, for just subscribing about 3 minutes ago. Laura Stabley, Tanner Phillip about 7 minutes ago. Sniper LLC, Hunting and Fishing with Logan and Keith Stacy. Thank you for subscribing. And Shamamish Bulletin about 11 minutes ago. Thank you. Let's get right into it. There's not a lot of good news, and I'll just warn you right now, if you haven't tuned in a while and you are sensitive to some of this stuff, we have probably 14 pieces in a row of stuff that is going to be alarming. So if that is something that, it's something that you are going to be afraid over, I'd highly recommend not watching today. We, of course, have Space Force expands its ability to monitor threats in, quote, deep space. So, and again, I don't know what their definition of deep space is, but it says the service's new radar system is said to be more advanced than existing radar or optical-based orbital space surveillance system. U.S. Space Force has awarded Northrop Grumman a contract to deliver a prototype of its new Deep Space Advanced Radar Capability, or DARC, To help the service monitor objects in the geosynchronous orbit, the new ground-based radar system will help Space Force detect and identify small space objects or satellites, prevent collisions with debris or other craft, and track potential threats in these distant orbits where many critical early warning satellites are located. Dex, before you, I know you're going to be hopping over on the phone here soon, but what do you think of this? When you saw this, did you think of kind of what we've been talking about for the last 3 years, as far as Space Force being able to detect objects coming in and this kind of thing?
Well, yeah, it makes me think there's multiple things, whether it's objects that are of the meteor or asteroid type, or if it's defensive protection against other objects that we may not know about, whether they're coming in from other potential beings, I guess, or just from our adversaries down here on Earth and doing something up in space, right?
So most people agree everything that is going on right now, there's a lot of suspicious things, especially if you follow very closely, then you're like, what the hell is really going on? Nobody believes anything right now. That is for sure. People are so torn. Now we have been beat down with so much false information, and I'm not talking about how the mainstream media says things are false information. In fact, most of the time when mainstream media says something is false or disinfo, it's usually true. And I'm sorry, but that's how it's been for the last couple years. And I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about how that has worked. We've seen with our own eyes that something is true, and then you'll have something, a fact checker check a opinion and say, that's not true. That opinion's wrong. It's like, he's a great person. It's like, what do you mean? You can't check a opinion. But again, that's why no one believes what is going on right now. People are like, oh yeah, well, remember the videos at the beginning of the thing? Those all turned out to be fake. This is different. This is a modern country now under siege, whether it be a coordinated thing between all of the countries and they're high-fiving behind closed doors. We know that all of the women and children are evacuated. A lot of them are here in the States. I have now talked to a few of these Ukrainian, Belarusian women, and it's like I saw the real result of this. The men in their lives are still back in Ukraine. That's what's crazy to me about this, is every woman and child was given a chance in certain places to leave, but the men weren't. And then if you see the people that are left in the places, all of those roads are jammed. It's not just one camera, two camera, 10 videos. It's 1,000 live streams, everything. I mean, it is really insane. And also there are social media networks, smaller ones, like so say we have Facebook. Brazil has Orkut, all over Orkut, and all ones just like that. There are smaller social media networks all over the world for different countries. They're all posting different things. I mean, like, this is unlike anything we've ever seen. Now people are so jaded by being lied to so hard and so often that they do not believe even this. They will not believe. They just won't. They're like, it's fake. It's a wag the dog. This isn't like a Baghdad village that doesn't have internet. This is Ukraine. They had internet. They have access. Of course, you could close off the whole country and do something like that. But you've also never seen, even if it was a big operation, then that means that this is yet another instance where the entire world is in on it, right? If that was the case. So even if that's the case, then that is absolutely terrifying. This comes after the last 2 years of just crazy stuff, and now this is happening. If you want to call in on this or other things, please give us a call at 224-400-MARF. That is, again, 224-400-6273. That number will be scrolling down below, including right there. You can see it actually translates MARF if you don't have letters on your phone. Again, that's 224-400-6273. And make sure to press option 4, and you'll get directly to Dex. So, obviously, I guess in my position, you're kind of, at times, it's not fun to have people disagree with you or hate you because you think something different, but I think something else is even way above conflict or the the protests that are going on from California to DC. I think there's something even bigger than that. And this kind of plays into what I have thought and my theories. And if you've watched, throw some of the things out there. Like if someone is new here, they don't know. We have followed the DART, the OSIRIS-REx, the Hayabusa, all of these meteor things. And it's like now they're adding a deep space capability to find stuff out in deep space. It just seems weird. And then, of course, Don't Look Up, done by Adam McKay, who normally does based on real events, doing that movie. And it's eerily realistic as far as how society would react. Nobody would believe it. In fact, look at what's happening right now with Ukraine. Nobody even believes it's happening. And that's because you've got other halves saying, hey, don't believe it. It's all this, it's all that. But it's like, if you know people there, then you know that it's at least this much. The damage is real. And, of course, mysterious Humvee has appeared in Russian vehicle convoy near Ukrainian border. It says the distinctive vehicle appears to have been captured in eastern Ukraine, but its operator and its current role remain unclear. This thing looks like it has some sort of Star Wars laser on top of it. It looks like an anteater head, but it's actually some sort of weird weapon. And it says, among the stream of Russian military vehicles gathering around Ukraine's borders, as Russia began sending troops into separatist areas of eastern Donbas region earlier this week, one unusual convoy has stood out as peculiar. It says one especially intriguing them among the diverse selection of vehicles was a U.S.-made high-mobility, multi-purpose wheeled vehicle, or Humvee, which bears all the hallmarks of a distinct variant used by the Ukrainian armed forces. Exactly what force is now using the vehicle and why is a mystery. Why it is a mystery, but its presence in Russian territory comes as Ukrainian officials warn of possible infiltration by Russian forces in Ukraine. It says, what little do we know about the unusual convoy comes primarily from Rob Lee, a PhD student and former U.S. Marine focused on researching Russian defense policy. Earlier today, he tweeted a still image from a video of the convoy, apparently located near the Kamensk-Shatinsky, a town in Russia, Rostov Oblast, in the southern federal district that borders Ukraine. It says we cannot be entirely certain when it was filmed, but it has been precisely geolocated. So they took the picture and they know where it was. It says it's immediately clear that one of the vehicles is a Humvee. But what's particularly interesting is the fact that it features a raised roof modification that is a feature of Ukrainian M1097A2s specifically. This was the result of a local upgrade by the Liev Machinery and Repair Plant and was originally prepared for use by the Ukrainian peacekeeping contingent in Kosovo as part of the NATO-led Kosovo Force. The originating operating unit was reportedly the 95th Independent Air Brigade. So what sticks out of this is Ukrainian, right? So why did the Russians have it? Or is that Ukrainians painted up as Russians? I don't know. What do you guys think about this? Let me know. Or is it vice versa? This is what we're talking about. This is why nobody trusts anything, absolutely anything. Did they get their hands on one of their vehicles? Was a vehicle given to them before? I bet you that they didn't realize that a PhD ex-Marine would even spot that kind of thing. Most people don't study these things really close. While there are unconfirmed reports that the same vehicle modification was supplied to Poland, Ukraine seems the most likely source for this example, especially consider its location. Furthermore, we know at least some of these Humvees fell into separatist hands during the fighting between Ukrainian and Russian-backed forces in eastern Ukraine during 2014 and 2015. Based on an open source intelligence, at least one of the Humvees was captured by Russian-backed troops during fighting around Debaltseve and appeared in Luhansk. The capturing and repurposing of Humvees, as well as some other similar light vehicles, is certainly not unheard of. So they're saying, oh, well, maybe in separatist fighting, they took some people out and they stole it. They got the keys and they drove it back over to Russia. This is why people are like, what the hell is going on here? Bible Talk for Common People says Putin will keep his word on his threats. Bully versus the woke West. Again, there's so many different views on this because some people think, oh, he won't be a part of the N the three-letter agency starting with an N and ending with the woe. And some think that he is in on it, or that he is not, that he is actually the victim and he is fighting back. No matter what you think about this, something massive is happening right now, and it is taking everyone's attention off of the rest of the world. Of course, it's taking attention off of the last 2 years, which, of course, I hope people never forget. If stuff does come out that hopefully is the smoking bang bang that proves that everything was just some sort of ruse, then I hope they're ready for that reaction. Greg Davis, the pandemic was the start of a 10-year conditioning and control of the masses. WW3 is just the start. The end of the decade will be very bad for us. Well, they already say that in 2030 we'll have catastrophe after catastrophe. They said catastrophic floods and earthquakes because of the moon. So who knows? Maybe that's what the deep space thing is for. Remember, you can call in at 2244-00-MARF. New callers are definitely encouraged. Please, if you're a first-time caller, call in tonight. Taiwan scrambles fighter planes as 9 Chinese aircraft enter its air defense zone. So while everybody's looking over at Ukraine, of course, Taiwan just had several fighters. Now, why would Russia be so confident, other than the fact that maybe the president or somebody is working it out with them, or maybe they knew what was going to happen? It seems like they had the whole playbook, and they're telling the world the whole playbook step by step. Why else would he be confident? Well, he also has China backing him up, and then China is lined up in the South China Sea. Nobody has been talking about China whatsoever. Of course, the Olympics just happened, and then now we talked about this right before. I have a feeling that China is going to get involved pretty quickly in this. And what's the scary thought is they've been preparing for years and years to do a massive invasion of some kind. And I'll let you guys know, we have evidence of this as far as for years they've been doing upgrades to their military, and they've been upgrading commercial ferries even. Say a regular commercial ferry, they made a law that says that every commercial ferry that was produced as of a few years ago had to be produced with the secondary purpose of being a lift vehicle for tanks and things. So all of their commercial ferries actually have a specialized hole that has a drop-down ramp for beach invasions. I wish I was making this up. They have been drilling, taking out our carriers, our specific shaped carriers, because they're practicing their target systems on our carriers in the desert. I want to say not the Gobi Desert. Trying to remember what desert it was, but we posted all of those satellite photos. And then, of course, on August 29th, they sent out to the entire Chinese country a piece that was approved by Xi himself, the actual president, put out this op-ed through all of the global mouthpieces, the Global Times, the Shenhua News, the People's Daily, everything. And they put this piece out that said that we were responsible for the last 2 years, that we made it in a LAB here in one of our bases, and that things are going to change, and things are going to change broadly. And we told you back when this happened, it sounded like something was about to kick off. This was before everybody was talking about a lot of the stuff that's going on with Ukraine and all of this. Of course, there was the regular stuff, but nothing like this, right? So now... and then they became the largest Navy in the world in just the last 3 years. They are becoming the largest Air Force, which we called 4 years ago. We said they are making them like nobody has ever seen. We are geographically not safe, and possibly we were infiltrated from the inside, and they took over and used the internet, used their 1 million strong army of Twitter users and paid internet users. This is literally, they have a 1 million man strong army in China that their whole purpose is to be on a computer and to be an individual voice. They're placed all over the world. They have, of course, they're able to sway any topic. And they have paid major media. We know this for a fact. The 3-letter agencies known as CNN and FOX and all of these, they have been caught. The New York Times, the Seattle Times, they've all been caught. And, of course, they wiped Just recently, they wiped a ton of their old articles online because someone discovered that these were paid and bought for articles by the Chinese government. For example, there was a piece about the South China Sea, an opinion piece, mind you, about the Spratly Islands that was saying that, this person believed that the Spratly Islands were rightfully China's. Sounds like something that somebody would just think of over here in the States, right? Well, think about it. And then all of Hollywood, all of video games are now owned by China. All the land, they have bought up an extreme amount. So if you think about it, the leaders of any country, when these people are human beings, a human being with this evil greed for money, they get that money put in their pocket, they don't give a crap. They get a seat at that table, they don't give a crap. We are now here, and nobody believes it's happening because that's even part of the... And now they're even telling you the disinfo is disinfo that's in disinfo. Meanwhile, everything's going to change. Everything. Man, the Atlantic is even putting out pieces saying that, what Americans need to be ready for when we get attacked by a cyber attack. It's like they're drilling it into your head that this is when we do get cyber attacked, it's going to be the fault of a specific group, right? But we don't know much about that, right? So they scrambled aircraft that was in their air defense zone. Again, pay attention to China. Watch the skies. Vladimir Putin appears to threaten nuclear attack against the West in chilling TV address. So you'll see why he says this. It says, Vladimir Putin has appeared to threaten nuclear strikes if any country tried to attack Russia in retaliation for in a terrifying speech. It says the president said the consequences of any attempt to strike back following the country's invasion of Ukraine would provoke a response never seen in history. In an address to the UK, Prime Minister Boris Johnson said that diplomatically, politically, economically, and eventually militarily, this hideous and barbaric venture of Vladimir Putin must end in failure. So I just want you to listen very carefully to what Boris Johnson, the Prime Minister of UK, just said. It says, diplomatically, politically, economically, eventually, militarily, he's saying eventually, going in there with military, this hideous and barbaric venture of Vladimir Putin must end in failure. Is that a quote, or is that a prediction, or is that a hint? Analysts believe the threat of deploying nuclear weapons should be, the Russian army be attacked by forces outside of Ukraine was implicit by the President Putin's speech. It said, broadcast live on television at 5:45 a.m. Moscow time. President Putin said, quote, whoever tries to impede us, let alone create threats for our country and its people, must know that the Russian response will be immediate and lead to the consequences you have never seen in history. All relevant decisions have been taken. I hope you hear me. Officials have said an attack on a military unit in Podolsk outside Odessa in Ukraine killed people and wounded 7. Russian tanks have also crossed the Ukrainian border via Belarus. NATO has now announced that it will take additional steps to strengthen the alliance's deterrence and defense, and officials said it would hold an emergency summit of its 30 member nations on Friday. President Putin's chilling warning address was a stark reminder to the West of Russian nuclear power. No one should have any doubts that a direct attack on our country will lead to the destruction and horrible consequences for any potential aggressor, he said in that speech that acted in a declaration on Ukraine. The invasion followed shortly after, leading to widespread horror and anguish as the human impact of the war began to take its toll. So, obviously, this is extreme case, right? But at this point, we don't know what cards are in the hands of these elite leaders. We know that they're going to take steps. They have roughly prepared us for at least a cyber attack. Now, if they do a major cyber attack on us, everyone is pretty clear on this, including the military members in our group that said that will be a response. The higher up military members that are in our group and that are in our sphere say that they know, they've heard directly down from the top that if they do a massive cyber attack on us, it will be a true escalation. It will be an active war to the point where it's not a sanction. It's they will respond with troops. That is what they have been told, and that's what they've been told over the last 8 months non-stop. So they have gotten memos about this. They have gotten messages about this. They have been told directly by their superiors that if that happens, it will be very bad, and that they are hoping that doesn't happen. But why have they been telling them for the last 8 months that? Meat Papa 007 says, Ukraine is a distraction, in my opinion. Watch SYRIA. Soraya, shout out to the mods. So that very well could be. And that's why we started covering a lot of the stuff too, and adding a lot of stuff about is and and of course Syria, because the Middle East people shouldn't forget about. That's also another flashpoint. Human Male says, be aware in chat, any foreign psychological operatives spreading disinformation through ideological subversion campaigns to create distrust. Okay, so Human Male, that would be called opinions. So one thing that I've run into a lot is people are now incredibly paranoid to the point where somebody the other day said, why do you have magenta in your background? Which I don't. I have blue and red, and together those make the color wheel of some sort of operation, I guess. But again, I want to say what I said to him. I used to, go over to this guy's house all the time when I smoked weed when I was younger, and he was a very educated guy. He's the one who taught me about the Illuminati and all of that. And he basically made you, back when it was illegal. Now you can get it at 7-Eleven like it's cigarettes or something. But back when it was illegal, you couldn't have people going in and out. So he would have you wait there for an hour and hang out with him. It was basically a forced friend. Most of you probably had a guy like that. Well, he would tell me about all this, and I used to talk about everything from the symbols on Taco Bell even can be brought back to an evil symbol. Everything has symbols, to the owl on the dollar, to all of the evil things out there, and there are a lot. But when you start looking at absolutely everything, you start thinking and seeing everything is out to be a bad thing. My background is LifeX from Best Buy. It's not exactly evil. So I see this a lot, especially in our niche. And what causes distrust is the creators out there that literally tell people not to listen to other people. Think about that. That's why we have a rule. We never, if you talk about another creator, even if that creator is just being a complete jerk and talking badly about us, we would never discourage you from going and seeing somebody. In fact, we have shared out so many creators, over thousands now, and that means that's opening you up to new opinions, and that might give you new ideas and make you think. But the people that are telling you not to watch something, that is something that the government does. They don't want you to see stuff. Why would anyone do that? And the general thing in this niche is that everybody is a shill or an agent. That sounds weird to me. That doesn't make sense. Okay, most people that have followed me for 4 years, they know they saw me start this out from my car and grind up. A lot of people go, "Oh, you grew so fast." No, I didn't. We have been hit. We only joined DLive when we got hit and banned for 3 months. So again, like people just hear things and then just believe it. So I don't know exactly what you meant from that, but again, people are like, it's why nobody gets together. You know how powerful we are if we're all together? If all of the channels, even if they disagreed, were working together, do you know how powerful that would be? That's why nobody has over 500,000. All of the big channels got knocked back down. If we don't team up, we don't get bigger. If you don't collaborate, you don't expose other people to your channels. And now it's like nobody will work together. The panel with Global Witness, now no matter what you think about Global Witness or the Truth, Donut Operator and Jacob Israel and all these people, no matter what you think of all them, for us to get over together, that was a huge deal, because guess what? That doesn't happen. Behind the scenes, every creator, even if I wanted to get a panel together, like on my 100,000, it's like one creator will have another problem and say, that guy uses, this app, so you can't trust him because he uses this or that, or he's stupid, he believes this or that. Nobody will work with each other. In photography or in makeup or whatever else, they all collaborate and they grow, and they're a huge part of YouTube. If you do not collaborate and you do not work with others, it keeps you small and it keeps you out in the corners of the internet. This is the huge problem. So I apologize about the rant, but it is 100% true. Behind the scenes, nobody trusts anybody. And that's really sad, because that is how we are kept small. So if you are telling somebody not to listen to somebody, you are actually doing the work of a government. It's so, as far as nuclear options and things like this, I hope that is 100% never going to happen. I think that people should think about it, and people should have a plan, even if it's not nuclear. I don't think we need nuclear to destroy our entire country, and that's talking about the US, UK, Australia, wherever you may be. You don't need that. All you really need is a grid down scenario, and that's not as hard as people think. Right on, Adam. I watched from the beginning, and you have worked so hard to be where you are at now. Love you. Thank you. I appreciate that. And then, and somebody said, you love when it's wartime. You make money. I took a huge hit to do this, and I was on the brink of being homeless at one point until I had an actual employee. I didn't ask for a single cent, and I never asked for anything until I had people depending on me. But I will say this: I took a huge pay cut, and I have never hit what I used to make doing credit card processing and sales. So again, I could go back to that job, and they have called me many times, especially when everybody was not working. They've called me 1,000 times and said that they would give me more than what I used to make, because nobody will work right now. And I would get to travel all over the place again. All right, Dex. Phone number 224400 Marf. What is going on? Let's see. Thank you, Julie A. I appreciate your support over on PayPal. Sharon and Glenn. Thank you, Adam and Dex. Longtime viewers here. Much love. Hey, thank you for going over there during the show. Martha L. Appreciate your support. Jim P. And then Nicole and hubby Frank. Oh, thank you so much. I appreciate that. I'll actually try to read that later. All right, and then let's see here. Let's go over to the phones. 224400 Marf. It looks like we have Steve on the phone, and then we will go into Russia, Ukraine, White House place cleanup after President B says no one expected sanctions to prevent anything. Looks like we're trying to get Steve on. There we go. Steve, you're live on Marfoogle News.
How's it going?
How are you doing? So, what's happening today? It looks like you're calling from Southern Idaho, and you are telling people to get gas. Is that right?
Yeah. So, I actually did this a few months back because I work kind of like in an industry where we service dairies, and so I every couple of weeks go to this like industrial chemical plant, and I'm out back and I noticed they've got hundreds of these metal, these steel metal drums with all sorts of different things that they had in them, some labeled flammable, and they're all just going to the dump. It's just whoever can get the time goes out, crushes them, and they haul them off to the scrapyard. So I called in, I didn't expect to get through. So I was like, well, gas is important right now. And, but I was thinking, Dex made a good point. I don't know like local codes and stuff, but I was going to come on here and suggest, if you know of like a local industrial chemical plant or something, or somebody who does, I just know that that's an easy place. You don't have to go spend money to get these, steel metal drums that are actually capable of storing gas or flammable, something that you would need to power your generator or, what have you, if something were to happen.
So are you saying that there were different places? So they're basically throwing away old gas, or because people can't keep it, they're taking to this place and then they're getting rid of it?
No, so they'll actually use them. So for example, the ones that I got, they used to have, what was it? Methane or something like that in them. And it was a flammable liquid, but because they knew they were going to store a flammable liquid in it, they had these old drums. They used it to make something else. And they had these old drums that were corrosion lined. So they're perfect for storing fuel long-term as long as you stabilize it. And they're already lined with like a corrosion resistant liner. And, I'm talking to the guy, I don't even know the guy. And I'm like, hey, what are those for? Are those, reusable? What are you doing with them? They're like, oh yeah, we're just going to toss them in the scrap. So, I come back a week later and pick up 5, 6 of them and start handing them out to, people we know around here that are like-minded.
I get what you're saying. And then, of course,
Yeah.
most people, that's why Dex said, you have to be careful and check your local laws and codes. Because, some places, they won't even let you collect water. I forget which, I think it's California, but they won't even let you collect rainwater. Like if you have a bucket outside, you're not supposed to do that. That's nuts.
Right. That's insane. Well, and, as important as that is, there's also a little bit more to it, because I started to get really interested on, how would you sustain your place? Because you think about it, we think, okay, I got a generator, I got some extra fuel, I'm ready for something if it happens. But realistically, your power goes out, you got a generator, great. What are you going to plug in? How are you going to get hot water? And if you're like in the city, how are you, or even say you're on a well, how are you going to get that water out of the well? You got to plug in your well pump. That doesn't just have a plug-in. Your water heater may or may not, but it's just not that easy. So I contacted a local electrician for just a couple $100, less than $500. They're going to come out here, put a 50 amp plug on the back, and then a switch that shuts you off from the local power company, turns on the input plug, the 50 amp input plug for your generator. And then you get to pick and choose which breakers you turn on. So you could kick on your lights with the light switch just like you would, like nothing ever happened. And that, I think, is a great idea, especially considering how affordable it is.
Yeah, well, and basically what he's doing is splicing in a cord to the input and then putting an adapter on it. But yeah, you want to have it done right. I'm sure that there's probably some electricians that are like, I could, obviously, I'm pretty sure because I could probably do that because of a previous warehouse job where I took, and I mean, it's really simple. It's actually quite simple if you know what you're doing.
Right.
But yeah.
I don't.
No, well, don't, and you get shocked really bad, especially with 50 amp. So.
Yeah.
So.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
make sure you turn on the generator after you plug it in.
Yeah. Well, no, all good ideas.
But before I go, because I know it's, I don't want to take up a whole lot of time here. I did want to make a quick connection that I noticed that I thought was really strange. I don't know if you watch High Impact Flicks or BP Earthwatch, but shortly after, the people driving the vehicles up north got dispersed, I think it was High Impact Flicks showed a little clip of some guy coming out and discussing a new sort of, moving away from the analog financial system to a digital one that was, quote unquote, more secure and yada, yada, all the supposed benefits of it. And after everything we had seen with the freezing of money, all of that. And then I'm looking at that, I'm thinking that comes out around the same time that we see that entire drama take place. And then at the same time or shortly thereafter, BP Earthwatch is doing some videos on the sun, and making note and mention of those two sunspots that are turning Earth facing, that look really imposing. And at the exact same time, we're hearing about this, how we've got this potential cyber threat. FBI, DHS, everybody's investigating this potential cyber threat from our, the big thing that's happening over in Europe. And, it's almost like if something happened from the sun, would they blame it on them? I'm just kind of like spitballing ideas. It just seems really strange to all fall in within a week or two of each other.
And
it's really quite
the launch of that deep space, what we just talked about, the deep space, Space Force detector, right? And then DART had actually launched, but it was actually moved. A lot of people if you saw Don't Look Up, what's funny is they canceled the first launch in that movie, and then the second time they launched it. What's funny about DART is they actually rescheduled DART as well, and DART is one of those missions. It's a rocket that is supposed to impact Didymos, this meteor, and try to put it off course. There's always a chance. What if they were covering that up and that was a real thing, and the guy in that movie is actually what's his name with the metaverse, and they want to grab everybody's info and get the gold from all of the meteors. And I mean, it's insanity what is happening where we don't know reality versus theory now is such a thin line, because now a lot of the theories have come true. As for High Impact, Brian is a really great guy on and off camera. We are much closer. But BP Earthwatch he is very nice. I've talked to him offline as well. Both are, in fact, BP Earthwatch is a legend. He was one of the people I was talking about, which he was huge, and he got knocked back down. Right before we chose who ran our country, they knocked out a bunch of people, including him, and he's rebuilt his channel, and he's surpassed 100,000 again from scratch. So
I remember that.
So that was a huge thing.
Yeah, I just thought it was. Yeah, and I think it's cool. I like to take things. Jacob Israel, I love the connections he makes, and I feel like him and I have the same type of brain, the way that we put things together. And I love just like tuning in to each and every one of you guys, because there's so many things happening. You really can't keep up with it all. And a lot of it, like somebody you were referencing earlier said something like, maybe this over here is a distraction. Take a look at that. And that's exactly it. I think it's ironic how if you overload a population with so much information, it's almost like we could take in all this info and learn nothing. It's like an overload of information actually makes you less capable of absorbing what's real and what's important.
Steve, it's hiding a needle in a stack of needles.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
Find the beige needle in the stack of tan needles.
Exactly. Well, Steve, we're out of time, but thank you so much for calling in. And again, great call. Thank you so much for bringing that up too. Something that everybody needs to pay attention to: Banking Offer Act, and then the digital currency, and all of these different laws that are passing, all of the executive orders. Steve, you have a wonderful night. Be safe and be prepared. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, thanks. You too. I'll talk to you soon.
All right. You have a great night. That was Steve from South Idaho. I thought South Dakota for some reason. Southern Idaho. Thank you for calling in, Steve. And again, thank you, Julia A. I appreciate that. And then Sharon and Glenn. You guys, awesome. All right. Before we move on, I do want to remind you, if you do want to protect yourself against, in fact, what Steve was just talking about, any kind of sun event, CME, solar flares, this would protect your devices. So if you do have a generator, a gas generator, a solar generator, more importantly, if you have a house full of gear, like what he just said, your water heater, your water pumps, you would want to get one of these wired into your home. Again, you can also protect your boats, your RVs, your motorcycles, even your ham radio. They make different devices for different things, and all of them protect against all three phases of an EMP, E1, E2, and E3. Here's one thing I want to point out. So go over to marfooglenews.com/EMP if you would like to purchase one. We have a contest that has started, and that will be at the very end of the show. Dex will tell you how to get that to enter. But I want to point out something. During T-Man's administration, he did executive order after executive order to beef up the EMP response. Immediately, this company was actually thrown into the mix. They were in the 2018 EMP resilience report, the same report that told every American from Homeland Security, they said every American should have 6 months to a year of food. I want to point out, he put all these executive orders that strengthened our grid and that we're going to go out there. The first day that the new guy was in office, I don't know if you remember the big stack of blue binders that he just signed. One of the things he signed out was one of those same orders. If you remember, at that point, they were even public about it. They're like, we want to undo anything that guy did. Doesn't matter if it's good or bad. It's just, if he did it, we're undoing it. One of those things was, now they still had certain contracts and things, but why would you undo something like that? That is so suspicious. Why would you undo protection against something that the actual Congress and the task force, everybody says, is one of the main top threats to the United States? Why would you undo some of that work to protect the grid? And and we know from experts that our grid is so horribly vulnerable, it's like, where's the motivation for that? It's very suspicious, very sus, have to tell you. If you want to protect yourself, do the same thing that most of these three-letter agencies and others are doing. Go to marfooglenews.com/EMP. It's a very simple device and extremely powerful. Most of the preppers that are in our families, and of course all of the creators around us, they have also done this. They have videos. Survival Living did a great video of installing it in his car. Again, very easy, a few minutes to put in, and it could save your life. It could mean the difference between you getting home and not getting home. And then Dan S., thank you for your support. Jesus is my Lord and Savior says, hey, Marf, hope all is well. Wanted to say hi. We also need to accept JC as our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ, and we are closer to his return than we think. God bless you and Marfoogle family. Jesus, thank you. I appreciate you. Greg Davis, Apophis makes its next pass to Earth in 2029. I know, Apophis is definitely a weird one. See what I mean? I don't know. It kind of lines up. Earthquakes and storms in 2030. Aussie girl from Australia. Hey, thank you for the support from Australia. And over on DLive, we have a ton of great people popping in. Thank you for the DLive, DLove crew. We've got M. Menching, Lisa K. Thank you so much for much love. Zerel Carmanac. Jenkins, thank you for following. Gem, nice to see you again. And then we've got KB Doc Holiday, Renegade PD, Queen BTP, Bear Lover, and Zippy Moons. So many words, not enough characters. Thanks for being here, Marf Dex Mods, and even the trolls. Prayers for all. We actually don't, I say there's a percentage of trolls that start out as trolls and they end up regular watchers. So that's why we try not to go after them too hard. A lot of people are new. They don't know how it works around here. They don't realize that if they're nice, that everybody will just start hanging out and saying, hey, how's your day? You'll actually get to meet cool people. Even if you don't like me, you could like the people in the chat. Think of it as I'm in the background. You can put me on mute and, put the captions on. And then Russia, Ukraine, White House plays cleanup after President B says no one expected sanctions to prevent anything. Are you kidding? It says President B claimed no one expected sanctions to prevent Russian President Vladimir Putin from invading Ukraine. despite claiming for weeks that the mere threat of sanctions would serve as a deterrent effect. I mean, even his most hardcore fans must be like, okay, maybe I'm a fan of, 1995 JB, but not 2022 JB. He says things, and he has said so many things, and it's like people say, well, he's human. I get that. But he's the human that is in charge of the most powerful country in the world. Well, he's not, but you guys get what I mean. I don't think, I'll say this, T-Man had his, I criticized T-Man when he did things like when he said, take your boom booms and ask questions later. I criticize that. I criticize when people think I am biased. Growing up, I was never one party or the other. What I will say, though, is common sense. Like, I agree with common sense things, not some of the stuff that is just absolutely insane right now. Natalie D., fun fact, the 9th century ruler of Kievan Rus, today's Ukraine and part of Russian name, was Great Prince Vladimir. The Russian pronunciation is Vladimir. The Ukrainian pronunciation is Volodymyr. Ironic or God's plan? I don't know. Vladimir versus Vladimir. And so he says this. He says, Deputy National Security Advisor Dileep Singh told reporters, said that they had the B administration unleashed our entire package of financial sanctions preemptively. Putin still likely would have invaded Ukraine. Number one, President Putin might have said, look, these people are not serious about diplomacy. They're not engaging in good faith effort to promote peace. Instead, they're escalating, Singh hypothesized, and that could provide a justification for him to escalate and invade. So they're basically saying there we go. I don't know what the heck happened there. They're basically saying that either way, if we did sanctions, it would have been, he would have escalated it based on that. But what others are hearing is that they're like, we knew that it wasn't going to do anything. He didn't care about the sanctions. And that's exactly what we heard. From their side, they said, we don't give a crap about the sanctions. Yeah, just in... Jerry Church says, you were right. I thought this was a nothing burger, but you were right. Where do we go from here is the question, and I think even they don't know. Peace will win in the end. Freedom and peace for all. Well, most people, I don't know. Maybe you are right, though. Maybe this is nothing burger disguised. Who knows? But I do know that it is much more serious than we have all thought or hoped it would be. And then we have Russian forces have captured the world's biggest cargo jet in Ukraine. The fate of the Antonov An-225 Mira remains unknown after its home airport fell under Russian control. It says the fate of the world's largest fully operational aircraft is uncertain in light of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. The one-off Antonov An-225 Mira from the Ukrainian Impiv, or Dream, has been at Gostomel Airport northwest of Kiev since it landed there on February 5th. While there has been heavy fighting at the airport, there are unconfirmed reports that Mira is still intact, at least for now, although now it is in Russian hands. They took over all of the airports. That's from what the even local and Indian and Australian and European and German news is saying. So pretty quickly, I mean, they did what looks like a shock and awe. They went in there with precision targeted weapons, almost looked like U.S. weapons. Even sounded like them. Surprised they didn't have a red, white, and blue missile in there. They took this massive plane. It's an extremely important plane. The AN-225 is based at Hostomel, sometimes referred to as Antonov Airport, which is used primarily as a commercial cargo hub. The airport is owned by the maker of the AN-225, the Antonov Aircraft Manufacturing Company, and is currently operated by its subsidiary Antonov Airlines. According to FlightAware.com, the AN-25 is confirmed to be at the airport after flying there from Billund, Denmark, nearly 3 weeks ago. Look at the size of that. So these are, I believe, the Antonovs, or one of them is the Antonov. Look at the size of normal commercial jets. So that is gigantic. And then we have Russia invades Ukraine on many fronts in a brutal act of war. Remember, you can call in on this 2244000 Chloe Jasper, love prepping what we have made for Preps for Jesus Return. No matter what our resources, we can do that, right? We can all do that, right? Yes, we can. Joseph Newhouse made a video about Elon Musk's cosmic mystery with scripture. I will check it out, Joe. I really, your last video was really great. And then make sure to go check out Joseph Newhouse. He's a good guy. He's been a Foogle fan member for almost the whole time I've been around. So thank you. So Russia launched a full-scale invasion on Ukraine on Thursday, according to the world, unleashing airstrikes on cities and military bases and sending troops and tanks from 3 sides in an attack that could rewrite the global post-Cold War security order. Ukraine's government pleaded for help as civilians piled into trains and cars to flee. Scores of Ukrainians, civilians, and service members alike were in the first full day of fighting. That's another thing. Much of it was not fighting. It was very precision strikes. It was missiles. From what India said, India at least confirmed the missile strikes, right? But what the man on the ground in several different places said is that as of yesterday morning or last night at 4:40 a.m., was that they had not seen any troops or any tanks yet. We still don't have proof of that. Or do we? I mean, we have videos, but again, I'm with you, most of you on that boat. Like, videos don't mean nothing until we actually know, but I don't think most people are going to travel to Ukraine to see the truth for themselves. And I think there's many people that are so burned, they're never going to believe it until it hits their house. Somebody made a comment, said it, until it falls in their backyard, they're going to stay in the dark. It might fall in our backyard. This is the point we're at. That's why we've told you guys to have a plan. Russia has embarked on a path of evil, but Ukraine is defending itself and it won't give up its freedom. That was the Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky tweeted. His grasp on power increasingly tenuous. He pleaded Thursday for even more severe sanctions than the ones imposed by Western allies and ordered a full military mobilization that would last 90 days. Zelensky said in a video that will address that 137 heroes, including 10 military officers, had been perished forcefully and 316 people wounded. So how would they even take the time to do the first 137 if this is a full-scale invasion so far? You're going to have hundreds of thousands, or at least thousands, if not tens of thousands. Are they going to do this every 10 feet that they come in? That's one weird part about that. Like, you'd think they would wait until the end or go out there and start fighting. Where are the fights at? Where are their military? Are they fighting on the front lines? And I'm surprised we haven't seen that. So I get both. I get both views on this. Remember, you can call in today 2244000 Marf. It looks like we have Mark, a first-time caller. Possibility of nuclear conflict in our next steps, military action in his area. Let's get Mark on the phone. While we're getting Mark, it looks like Mark's going to take a second to get in here. I want to remind you, if you have not already, I would highly recommend checking out the Energy solar generator. This is what is running our entire show, our router. Our entire operation here is run off of one Energy Flex 1500 and, of course, its battery. So I have a base unit with one battery. I am in the process of getting multiple because this can turn into a modular powerhouse. You can actually stack the batteries, and, of course, you can add as many as you would like. Again, this is an amazing system because You can start off with the base model, and then you can add batteries as you go. You can add solar panels if you want to get them one at a time, the proprietary ones that they sell with them, or if you want to get them from Amazon, you can go do that. Once you have this, you have an extremely powerful tool that can be used for pretty much anything, from actually being a backup for your house to, of course, being a camping aid. Go to the cabin with it, go camping, whatever you do with it. The greatest part about this, though, one, it can save lives, especially when you're talking about people with CPAP machines or oxygen machines or anything that needs to be powered. But two, it is portable and it is silent. If you have a gas-powered generator, the biggest downside to it is that it's loud. When the power went out here, I could hear every single person in the neighborhood that had a generator. We had the power go out for over 2 days, and it was pretty easy to tell, especially because it was snowing here. It was absolutely silent except for the houses that had generators. If this was an SHTF situation, those houses would be broken into and those generators would be stolen right off the bat. That's, of course, if they didn't defend themselves, right? So make sure to use the code Marfoogle, marfooglenews.com/energy, INERGY. That way, when you go and get your solar generator, which again, I would get in as quickly as possible, there is a waiting list. You can also help our channel as well at the same time. And it doesn't cost you anything extra. Dex.
I was just going to give a quick energy update. They let us know that in March, or in about 8 or 6 days from now or less, the prices actually have to go up because of the import, the battery tech and some of the other tech they have to get. The inflation's gone up on it. So if you want to lock in at the prices they have now, get your orders in as quickly as possible. So they wanted me to make sure everybody knew that coming March 1st, they're going up a little bit.
And that's something they can't help because there are some things that are in solar generators that cannot be manufactured here. So that's
exactly.
why
they build everything here. They put it all together here, but there's certain things like just, battery tech and some of this other stuff. It's just not manufactured in America at all. You can't even get it. And
that's a scary thing, actually. So make sure to go over, check it out, marfooglenews.com/energy. Okay, we have Mark on the phone. You're live on Marfoogle News. What is going on?
Hey, Adam, how you doing?
I'm doing good, Mark. So nuclear conflict, it's something that's taboo and nobody wants to talk about, but a lot of preppers actually, they think about it. What are your thoughts?
Yeah. Well, actually, I was trying to get your thoughts. I mean, do you think we'll actually get involved in this kind of a conflict?
I personally think that if there was a nuke, it would be one, and then that would be used as grounds to stop whatever operation was going on. I think that after, right. Or I mean, if it was full scale, I don't think anybody's opinion matters. I think I'm like most human beings. There's a fear in the back of our head that we'll just all of us see. It'll be like that show, like Jericho, and we'll just all of a sudden see clouds off in the far distant future. I think that cyber is the way they'll go. I think that the people that we're facing want to keep the places that they're taking over. So if they take our grid down right. and take us manually without nukes, or they would use tactical nukes. I think that they would use tactical nukes because now they have the technology and the weapons to be able to do so without destroying huge swaths of land and radiating massive amounts of land. But who knows? Russia has that Satan II, which is absolutely terrifying. Yeah, it's terrifying. It can take out a whole state.
That's terrifying.
What do you think? Boy.
But yeah, I was wanting to mention though, where I live over about 50 miles south of Chicago, and there's a little tiny airport here, and a military base just kind of popped up here. And there's been choppers everywhere. You can't even go into the airport anymore. You have to do all this crazy stuff to get in there. And it's pretty scary. I mean, we're talking, Blackhawks, double-bladed. I forget what they're called, the double-bladed helicopters.
Chinooks.
But I mean, they're running all day long, all day.
Wait, I'm sorry. Can you repeat yourself? This is in Illinois?
Yeah. Kankakee, Illinois.
And you're saying that they have now created a military base out of nowhere, or they took over an airport?
It was already like a National Guard, just like a little just armory thing, but now they have a full on setup, barbed wire fences, everything. It's insane. It's insane. Like, we've never seen something like this over here.
Wow. I wish you almost had reference. One thing. So is it public? Is it just something you can see when you drive by?
Yeah, it's right off of Interstate 57. You drive by it and you see the barbed wire fence now and everything. They added like 3 or 4 more acres of just fences, barbed wire fences, and like they just built a new hangar and everything. And like it's pretty intense, man. I've never seen something like that out here.
And how new do you think it is?
I would say in the past year and a half, 2 years.
Well, so yeah, that's kind of freaky. So the comment we keep getting, and you don't have to believe me on this. Anybody can go and look through our previous videos. Look at all the comments on the people that are saying that they have so much Air Force action. And we're talking about jets running every single day. There's even people that there was one woman who said she lived in between 5 different bases by NORAD in Colorado. She was between 5 bases, and she has now moved to somewhere else. I want to say Oregon or Las Vegas. And she said that the action that is going on right now is more than she's ever seen before. And she lived in the middle of 5 bases, and she's saying that it is nonstop every night. I mean, so those are the kind of comments we keep getting, and the people in chat, a lot of people right now, I bet if we turn it on right now, how many people have seen an uptick in military aircraft in their area, have had jets flying over them? Let us know in the chat below, and we'll take it there. Mark, is there anything else you want to talk about before you go?
Nope, that was it. I really enjoyed the show, though. I've been listening for a few years now.
All right, well, thank you, Mark. Hey, it's a pleasure to meet you, and thank you for being a first-time caller. Don't make it your last, okay?
All right, thank you. You have a great night.
All right, you too. Have a good night. Okay, yeah, somebody said press 1. I gotta say that's what I usually do. So if you've seen an uptick in military aircraft by you, press 1. If you have not, press 2. Everybody says I have. Yes. I mean, that's incredible. Wow, that is incredible. Because normally we have, I mean, that was 1, 2. We saw 1, 2. Okay, there's a few 2s. That is a whole lot of 1s, though. We have had jets almost every day, at least 1. And I live in Washington. I'm nowhere near a base. When I used to live by the base, I would hear them every once in a while, but it was like once every couple months. They would do their drills and they would go over. And then when I lived in Seattle, they very rarely do like the helicopter Black Hawk stuff, but they do these drills, and they'll go swooping over like Queen Anne and through downtown, and then they'll go over to West Seattle, they'll go over the Puget Sound, and they'll go from downtown over to West Seattle, they swoop around, or when they do tours of the generals. Now, we have had military choppers over every day, jets flying over, which anytime you hear a jet and you're not around a base, it's concerning. It shakes you up a little bit because you never know, especially when you've seen movies like How It Ends on Netflix. You know, we always see Hollywood and we think when jets start coming in, then that's when everything kicks off, or Red Dawn or something like that, right? Or any alien movie, you see the jets come in and it's like, whoa, cool, and then they get destroyed. But when you see the jets out here, and when you see them when you're nowhere close to base, it's alarming. Obviously, it very well could be a drill, whatever else. Ilea steps in and says, Jericho was removed from Netflix. It's probably on one of the other ones, though. Jericho, that first episode, those things are just... I've had so many dreams about it that when I see a show like that, that's what really grabbed me about Jericho, is basically that first episode where they're all somewhere else and they can see it off in the distance. It's a very terrifying thought. Matu Suki says, hello, considering Russian forces captured Chernobyl, I do find it interesting that Chernobyl translates into wormwood. There are lots of art installations near there depicting the third angel. I did not know that. Pamela Leslieberg says, bless you and Dex for the news you bring. Well, thank you. And hey, Pamela, thank you as well. Bless you as well. And yeah, insanity proceeds. And U.S. braces for Russian cyber attacks in the wake of a Ukrainian invasion. The U.S. government is on high alert for signs of Russian cyber attacks against banks and other financial institutions after Moscow launched a wide-ranging attack on Ukraine on Thursday, eliciting harsh sanctions from the international community. A Homeland Security source with knowledge of the matter told Fox Business on Thursday that the cyber threat to the U.S. from Russia is still active and has not changed since the Russian president launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine. Threats to the national grid and major American banks are a real possibility, the person said. Both the Department of Justice and FBI are braced for a potential attack and closely tracking any unusual cyber activity. The DOJ has an entire national security division devoted to this. So they're saying they're watching it and they're trying to protect. So what I'm about to say is not confirmed, and the only reason I am saying something is because they have actually they've tried to reach out and give us some more information, as far as they tried to give us some confirmation information. So I don't like passing on just everything I see. Dex and I try to verify everything. I'll just let you know we have not seen this person's DD-214. We have not seen their actual documentation that they served. But what they essentially said is that they served in the military, and Dex, do you want to help me out with this? That they were responded to the use of nuclear force, right?
Yeah, that was something along those lines. They were responsible for, I guess, tracking or what the management of that. I'll have to look it up. Give me a minute.
So they said that they are retired, but now getting called back in on a 72-hour to deploy. They gave specific, places and times and everything else that we're not going to say. Which that added a little bit of credibility because they were saying specific, and then again, it could be, anybody that looks up a list of bases or something like that. So that's why, I do see people that just kind of take it at face value. They felt like the option of nuclear is highly likely if they are getting called in for what position they do. So that was something I sent family and friends, and I said, just take this with a grain of salt. They sent certain things, another set of things, because they apparently worked for another 3-letter agency. So again, it was the same one we're talking about here, only one of them, the first one. So I just wonder if, and they wanted people to know, but they wanted to stay anonymous, so you never know. It's like, I just wonder, I do believe that people are getting called back in, because we've had proof of people that are retired getting called back into service if they have a specialist position. But I would think that they are doing that maybe for the looks of things, or for Dex.
Well, yeah, I don't know. I think if we, given the state of affairs between us and Russia, and the threats that have been made, and the fact that we have a major conflict that has already kicked off with, easily the second largest nuclear power on Earth, then you have to sort of think there is the opportunity for that to happen, right? You have to prepare for that. If you didn't, I think it would be it would not be appropriate for our country and our military to actually think that just could never happen, right? because the state that things are right now with him, and the fact that, like once Putin takes over Ukraine, he is up against, literally bordered up against other Baltic states that are members of NATO, right? I mean, it is really simple. Like, if let's just say he does a cyber attack and takes out the power in the Ukraine, but in doing that attack maybe bleeds over into other countries, right? If all of a sudden the power goes down in Romania, the grids go down, or gas lines have problems or something in those other NATO states, then they're going to consider that an act of conflict, right? And as soon as it happens to any one NATO member, the rest have to, by treaty, have to jump in and defend, and not just defend, but declare conflict against, the opposing force, right? So that there is strength in this unity of these nations. That's the whole reason for NATO, is to be able to pull together and say, no matter what, if any one of us gets dinged, we all come after you with everything we got. That doesn't mean we're going to first strike or anything, but it seems it would be crazy to believe that if something like that happened, and he's really teetering on the edge of just, sparking off something, even if we did something at the ground level, I have a hard time believing that he's not the type of person that's not going to use a tactical or a hypersonic, especially since he's got them and he's been touting them and flaunting them, right? And that's probably why our military thinks this is a real credible, thing. I think it is, in my mind. I mean, I've gone through my own, preps and thoughts. Okay, well, if this goes off, what do we do? What's our plan? Where do we go? How do we, prepare? What's our plan here at the house, right?
So what we're saying is, just because he's getting called back in, and that's his specialist position, is responding to the use of nuclear force. I believe that also curtails, like, if there's a nuclear accident, if the military, if the military gets involved with any kind of nuclear accident, a spill, whatever it may be, they sometimes send in military for some things around the world. So, like, I would believe that would be under that curtail too. So it could even be a plant, like a Chernobyl happens, right? If they were to send in military with full-on gear and stuff like that, then they would send in this kind of guy. He has been retired for a while, from what we know, and after retiring, went into a security position at a department in our homeland, and now is being called back to a certain other position. So he's stayed a government worker. That could also, and no offense to the person, we take everything with a grain of salt, especially if it's from a government, an actual government agent. But that's what we're saying. Like, so somebody took it wrong the other day. I said, when I kind of mentioned that, and I said, we know that a lot of people watch our videos. Somebody said something like, oh, you think you're a big deal or something. We don't. Somebody, one of the Foogle fam members actually stood up and said, I thought it was very responsible for us not to just do a whole video, title it, this happened and I'm telling you guys this, because it scares the crap out of people. And just in our little sphere, we could make a lot of people freak out. So I just wanted to make sure that people know, and that's why I wanted to make sure to try to be a little bit calmer. I know that people don't like it when I get hyped up myself, okay? Because it's not like I'm up here not thinking about this stuff myself. I am doing this. If I was not on YouTube, I would be talking about this with my friends and family. If you ask any of my friends and family, before I ever did YouTube, I was the one telling them, hey, this is about to pop off. This is going. You need to have preps going. You need to have extra water and supplies. So I do get hyped up, and I realize that can affect the people that watch me as well. I do believe it's extremely serious, and I have analyzed this for years. And we have high-ranking officials in the midst. You guys know this. You can see plenty of military members right in our chat right now. So, unless you believe that absolutely everything is fake, unfortunately, not everything is fake. The motivations might be, the ties, the secret motivation behind it might be, but some of these actions are real. It's not like, go ahead.
And Adam, you had mentioned earlier when somebody asked you what you thought would happen, or like maybe it would just be one-time use to stop to put a pause or an end to a conflict, kind of like we saw in Japan, right? I think there's a couple of scenarios here. One is if something happens, like I said earlier, where a NATO member is crossed and then everybody has to defend or go on the offensive for them. I think you have the potential to see if Russia gets in a bind where they think they're up against a wall and they can't do anything, that they're probably just that would be the worst case scenario, right? Where they would just say, F it, push the button, we're done. If we can't win, nobody wins, right? But I think what would be more likely is if we ever saw what we've all had in the back of our mind, like what's happening with Russia, what's happening with China. Is there some sort of potential for some other big superpower change in this world? What would they do? And that's probably a little bit more tactical in the sense that I would expect to see the power go down, probably with an EMP and probably in conjunction with cyber, right? And then you would probably see tactical events going off, right? And those would be more strategic and small, because it doesn't make sense to completely, wipe out mutually assured, right? Because you only do that when you've got no choice and you're at the end, and only if you're really sadistic, right?
That's like if somebody who knows, because some people think that Adolf that he got out somehow and lived in Hawaii or Alaska or Antarctica or something. But if Putin was in a tunnel about to take one of those little pills that makes you go to sleep and never wake up, maybe that would be the time to press the button, right? If you were at that point surrounded and you're going, but they're not in that position now. Nobody is. So I think we would see the power go off first, but even if the power does go off, make sure to stay calm and realize they do have Operation Starfall. They have many different scenarios where they'll launch some things to keep communications up, at least for military. I think it's kind of crazy that people think that just everything's fake to the point like where our military have no purpose. I'm proud of our military. There are good people in our military, and even if the very top was corrupt, there are people down below. If something really went down and they knew the top was corrupt, I believe people would sanction off, and the training that they have, they would then therefore, fight the good cause. There are good people out there. They're good, they're amazing force, everything. I mean, hypothetically, what if we saw parts of our military break up and they started defending what they thought was right instead of what their orders were? Unlikely, because they've been trained to just take orders. But I think there would be a few good men. That was a reference. Pretty good one. Andy Balfour, many Russians are being arrested speaking out against Putin garbage and the raw. Yeah, they're being, we talked about that earlier, 940 just in Moscow have been arrested for saying, hey, don't do this. Survival Living says, I think you are a big deal. And we as Foogle fam appreciate everything you do, Adam. You are always ahead of the game, giving us life-saving information to prepare on. I don't think I am, but I liked how Foogle fam put it, and it's how I've said it in the past. We're talking to, if there's almost 100,000 people, or 70,000, or 50,000, or even 30,000, that's like a Super Bowl. This year we had 30,000 people, 25,000 at the Super Bowl. Usually you have about 70,000, but even then, 70,000 people is a full stadium at Super Bowl. Great example. That's a lot of people, and if you scare the crap out of a whole Super Bowl stadium full of people, that's not good. Corrado Spataro, hello Marf. I don't usually comment much. Where do you think Canada stands on this? God bless. Most people think that your prez is trying to make big moves to impress the group so he can get himself on the table, saying, he'll sacrifice anything, including totally just garbage his country to get at the big table with the big boys, proving that he can be a really messed up guy. And then President B was president with options for massive cyber attacks against Russia. President JB was presented with a menu of options for the U.S. to carry out a massive cyber attack designed to disrupt Russia's ability to sustain its military operations in Ukraine. For people familiar with the deliberations, tell NBC News. So that if we did a first strike cyber-wise, that would also be a point where that's us interfering. And then he said that we would see a response like we've never seen before. All of a sudden, Space Force launches this weird detector thing. We don't know what the hell's going on here, but I would say keep your eyes on the sky. U.S. intelligence officials, one Western intelligence official and another person briefed on the matter say no final decisions have been made, but they say U.S. intelligence and military cyber warriors are proposing to use the American cyber weapons on a scale never before contemplated. Among the options, disrupting internet connectivity across Russia, shutting off electric power, and tampering with railroad switches to hamper Russia's ability to resupply its forces. Because they were putting trains. It says you could do everything from slow the trains down to have them fall off the tracks. One person briefed on the matter said, wow, like there's a truck full of, 1,000 troops on it, and they make it go so fast it flings off and obviously injures them. That's what they're talking about here. Mind you, the train system was already hacked once before, but that was supposedly by Ukraine or no, wait. It was by a group tied with Ukrainian pro-Ukrainian separatists. Might have been us. Who knows? And then Putin's troops raise flag in Ukraine as Z tanks lead second invasion wave. It says Russian troops have been spotted raising their flag in Ukraine as the second wave of Vladimir Putin's invasion. Ground forces have been streaming across the border into former Soviet state from all sides after the aerial blitz in the early hours. The tanks have become a symbol of Russian invasion. It says tanks, trucks, howitzers, and other armored vehicles, some marked with the distinctive Z, have been seen rolling in from Crimea. Other vehicles cross the border from Belarus, these marked with an O. It says the Z symbol became a distinctive image of invasion as it's believed to be the invasion organization marking or to stop friendly fire. And atop a power plant in Kharkiv, southern Ukraine, a group of soldiers raised the distinctive red, white, and blue striped flag of Russia. Isn't it funny that their flag is red, white, and blue too? Just a little bit different. Putin has surrounded the western neighbor with some 200,000 troops. So now it's funny because we said there was 200,000 troops, through 250. I bet that number is just going to keep going up. Pictures show dead Russian soldiers and destroyed vehicles on the roadside as the combat rages. Russian helicopters have swept towards Kiev, attacking a key military airport along the way, and ballistic missiles have come raining down on Ukraine. What we know from Ukrainian members, one of their brothers is air traffic control for Ukrainian airports. He is now missing for 16 hours. He was at one of the airports, and now their families are worried about him. So, there are real people being affected, and including American citizens that have family in Ukraine. This isn't a village that doesn't have internet or phones and doesn't know what a cell phone is. This is Ukraine. They have internet bars. They have Starbucks. They have everything. This is a modern day country. It might be poor, but it's modern day. So there's a lot of stuff that we can confirm, but who knows? Just say hypothetically, those missiles could have come from another country. Who knows? Dex.
And just an update, as the show started, or a little bit before the show started, the announcements came out that Kiev was under attack, and I've been listening or watching, but really listening to the the webcam that's right there that has the big statue that is the famous one. I can't remember what square it is. It's Maiden Square in Kiev. I've probably heard 7, maybe 8 explosions throughout the show. I've not been able to see them. They're not in frame, but they're close enough by that they're coming through on the audio. So just that's an update of like what's happening real time there right now. And the sun will be coming up there shortly. You can see that the light has changed from really dark to starting to light up just a little bit. This was about the same time last night. About an hour before this was when the hour and a half before this was when some of the air attacks started.
So if you didn't catch that, Dex has essentially heard the explosions on the live feeds. There are multiple live feeds that are still up, but no visual. And he's waiting, and he's going to record it and put it on the show if we can catch it. Before we talk about this, let's get our next caller on. Russia has mobile crematoriums that evaporate dead soldiers. Real quick, I do want to let you know, if you have been wanting to prep, I would highly recommend going over to the Essentials of Life, marfooglenews.com/prep. As we know, with energy and other companies, a lot of the prices will soon go up. A lot of the different supplies that are used to make these things go up. One good thing about My Patriot Supply is they have not raised their prices for a long time. And again, we don't know how long that will hold out, but again, right now they are still offering the $150 off on a 3-month supply and a $50 off on a 1-month supply. These are, of course, the long-term survival food, lots of different meals. They come in the long-term storage buckets. Again, this is something that people need to be looking into if they're not doing themselves. If you just want to get it done, go over to marfooglenews.com/prep. Obviously, it's up to you again if you want to wait. But with the prices of all of this going up and up and up, it is now, people are seeing it as a good investment at this point. Also, like the first caller was talking about, water filtration. Are you going to be able to have clean, drinkable water? They say 90% of people would perish in the United States alone, not because we're taking each other out or everybody's, it's not a World War Z event, because we would not have drinkable, potable water. They have water filtration systems over there. In fact, again, one of the best that goes head-to-head with the Berkeys. Alexa Pure is, in fact, much more affordable and an absolute amazing system. Again, this is a water filtration system. Go over marfooglenews.com/prep. That way you can help your favorite channel at the same time, in most cases, getting a discount as well. So thank you, everybody that does do that. If you're already doing it, try to go through us if you can. And let's get our next caller.
Our next caller dropped, so I don't have a caller lined up right now.
Okay, so I'll go back into the articles here. 224400 Marf. If we can't get anybody on, that's okay. Russia has mobile crematoriums that evaporate dead soldiers. That's right. Chilling footage shows mobile crematorium, which could be used for essentially evaporating people. Dex, this is kind of a crazy thought, but nobody thinks about this as far as if you have a lot of people that are perished, it can become an actual problem itself, right? It can create disease. And is this the solution to that? This is crazy stuff. Russia has mobile crematoriums in its arsenal that could follow invading forces and evaporate dead soldiers, according to a report. The British Ministry of Defense released videos of the trucks that can incinerate bodies one at a time, suggested Wednesday that the Kremlin might deploy them in its war with Ukraine. That is incredible. It says to hide the number of casualties. Well, no, why would they do that? This sounds kind of like Ganda. It says, if I was a soldier and I knew that my generals had so little faith in me that they followed me around the battlefield with a mobile crematorium, or I was the mother or father of a son potentially deployed to a combat zone, and my government thought that the way to cover up those losses was a mobile crematorium, I'd be deeply, deeply worried, UK Defense Secretary Ben Wallace told the paper. It's a very chilling side effect of how Russians view their forces. he said of the footage first posted back in 2013. So that, yeah, these are trucks that are literally, they're ovens. That's freaky. I have never heard of something like this. But it does take care of one of the problems of perished people. They can cause multiple diseases on the battlefronts. People got several diseases in WW2 from a lot of the unstored people. So very, very creepy. And then we have European Union divided on cutting Russia from global bank network. This I don't, people are just kind of pussyfooting around at the wrong time. M-menching, fire going, listening to my daily news. Hey, M-menching, I hope you grabbed some popcorn too. Make the full circle there. Don't you all understand we are in the beginning? Yeah, the beginning of the end. Release the Quack, and thank you, Miss Invisible. Thank you, Gem, Chance Paladin, and Jammer1, everybody that's modding over on DLive. Kishara, thank you so much for supporting. Slider 1611, and of course, Jim Bob 1212. Thank you for following. I'm mentioning no fear here. Prepare for it's coming to us soon. Hello, Marf, just lurking and listening. Prayers for the world. Hey, Vault, how you doing, man? Thank you for stopping by. And then Zippy Moons again. Thank you so much for your support over on DLive. Appreciate you. It's very, very freaky. It looks like we have Jenny, a first-time caller. Let's see here. Wow. Okay. So this caller is from the same area as the last caller. And it looks like we have some corroboration here. Jenny, you're live on Marfoogle News.
Hi.
So, Jenny, what's going on?
So I live about an hour and a half from Kankakee, and I watch the sky all the time. I watch the planes. I watch the flight radar. And yesterday, I heard a helicopter, and I went running outside and actually took a couple pictures of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, that definitely looks like a military helicopter. And I've lived here for like 15 years, and I've never, ever seen one fly over my house like that. And I actually looked to see if it was on radar, and it was also not on radar.
So we have been getting so many people saying that. I checked, and there was one jet in the morning that was on radar, but at the nighttime when they had the other one, it was not.
Yeah,
I understand that they have the ability to do that, but why? I guess why, if it's a drill, why would they do that?
Exactly, and that's what I thought too. And especially because I'd never seen one. I mean, even the life flights that we have around here are on radar. And I did send Dex the pictures.
Okay, so let me see if I can get these. Okay, perfect. And by the way, thank you for calling in and replacing it. It looks like our other caller dropped out, so I'm glad that you were able to call in. And it sounds like you're from the same area as the last caller, so that kind of corroborates what he was saying. All right, so I'm pulling up.
And why in Illinois?
Yeah, well, true. There's some areas, like if you lived in Colorado, this would be probably a daily occurrence, right? But not in Illinois. Okay, so let's see here. So this first one, okay, so you got an actual picture of it. And then
yeah, I had to enlarge it.
Okay, and then let's see here. Let's zoom in right here. So I don't know if that's, is that a UH-60? Is that what it says it is?
I don't know. I couldn't tell.
Can anyone, is that, I don't know if that's a Black Hawk or is that there's a third one. The, Dex, do you know what I'm talking about? There's Chinooks, the double-bladed, there's Blackhawks, and then there's the third...
Apaches.
Apaches. I don't know if that's... that either. What looks like a Black Hawk. I guess I sometimes I get them confused.
I don't know enough about helicopters. I just know that was definitely a military helicopter, and I've never seen one like that before around here ever.
Okay, so somebody said a UH-60 Black Hawk. Yeah, that's what I thought. I just I guess maybe it's because of the picture you don't see the short little tiny wings with the missiles out on it. It's the angle of it. Yeah,
and it would happen so fast that I was running out to catch a picture.
Well, so you've lived there for 15 years. Are you near any of the bases? Like somebody said, Haneke or Kaneki or any of those?
Kankakee?
Yeah.
No. I'm about an hour and a half away from Kankakee, but no, I'm like north central Illinois, like not really close to anything.
Yeah, SFC Wall Street said, sorry this is late, but I've seen huge uptick. Yeah, most people have. Cakewalker says it may be a medical Black Hawk. Yeah, Black Hawks don't have winglets. Yeah, that's what okay, so that's Apaches. Apaches are the ones that are really scary. Those ones are the ones that can fly like 4 feet off the ground and just be insane. Well, thank you for calling in and corroborating what the last caller said. Again,
thanks for having me.
Well, again, the last gentleman said in the last year they put up a new base that wasn't even there before. So maybe you're seeing the results of that.
That's what I assumed too, especially when he said that.
Well, thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you. And you have a wonderful night, okay?
Thank you, you too.
And it's your first call. Don't make it your last, okay? Don't be a stranger.
All right.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was Jenny. Again, we've made these pictures available on marfooglenews.com. I want to say a special thank you. So Andrew from EMP Shield just stopped in and says, Dex and Adam, keep doing what you're doing. Hey, Foogle fam, love y'all. Stay prepared, everyone. So if you guys didn't know, Andrew and the other owner-operators and CEOs and everybody of EMP Shield, they're in our community. Andrew actually has his own YouTube prep channel separate from work. He is a prepper. All of these guys never thought that their company would be so big when they started it. They were just normal people, especially the inventors, and all of them they're in our community, literally in our community. So it was really pretty amazing when we found them, and that was before a lot of the big contracts and all of those things were happening. So again, if you guys haven't checked out Andrew, make sure to do so on his personal channel. And then EMP Shield, again, they are a family-owned, veteran-owned company, and their products are 100% made in America. Make sure to check them out. Again, EMP Shield. Thank you so much for your support. And they actually support outside of that. They have done many things for the Foogle family member. Perfect timing, too. Dex, we are going to be... you're actually going to be going over all of the contest stuff.
Absolutely. So, best time is now. If you're trying to get an EMP shield and you can't afford one, or you need an extra and you still got the extra dough, here's your chance to win one, get in the contest. So they haven't done these very often, and it's so exciting when Andrew is able to do them for the community and include us when he's doing them. So if you go over to marfooglenews.com and click on the thumbnail for the show, or if you're on YouTube, just open the description and look at that first link. It says show notes. Click on it and scroll down to web-only content where we have the rest of the show. You're going to see the entry for the contest. That's how you enter. And guess what? You can enter multiple times. There's multiple ways to enter, and you can come back every day and enter again. There's daily entries. So that gives you a much better chance of potentially winning an EMP shield of your choice. So it's really fantastic that they're doing that. While you're there, though, check out everything else, the rest of the story, the stuff that's too far to one side, too political, too hot for TV. We just can't talk about some of this stuff. So that's where we put it. Of course, a lot is going on right now, so it's a little bit thin, but not too thin. because of all the conflict news. So that's just what everything's covering up right now. So, but go there and check it out. There's definitely a lot of other things that are happening, updates on Kyle, updates on other political things that are happening. And even some pontifications from some of these, leaders or former leaders on what they're thinking. So if you want to see what's going on, including Guantanamo came up again. So check it out. Marfooglenews.com. Click on the thumbnail for the show, scroll down to that web-only content, or if you're on YouTube, open the description and click on show notes. First link there.
All right, thank you, Dex, and thank you for your service tonight. Thank you, Andrew, for stopping by. And yeah, there's definitely a whole other show down here. Also, make sure to check out some of this stuff. The Doomsday Plane is now up. There's a lot going on. So, again, make sure to go check it out. There is a ton over there. There is a ton of cross-referenced, archived articles for you to read. If you want to read back, if you have not watched for a couple weeks, you have that tool at your resource. You can also search up in the upper right-hand corner. That is a great tool. If I go up to the search bar and I type in anything, so let's see, August 29th. It'll most likely bring up the let's see here. Wait a second. Boom. So the search, that's because I did it on their website. Our search bar, just to show you, will show you the shows that we talked about. August 29th is when China put out that article basically saying that we are responsible for this. So I believe if you type in August 29th, it should pull up. Yep. November 17, 2021. Right after that, this is when we showed that actual that letter. So it's a very powerful tool as far as for finding the previous shows that we talked about some of these. Of course, you can type in even Bigfoot, and there will be callers that called in about Bigfoot. You'll see all of that here. Again, once you click on this, see if we're looking for Bigfoot, watch this. The first show that it does is the most relevant. You go down and let's see here. Look, James lucid dream about a thing and then a Bigfoot sighting video. Looks like they took down the video, but again, it's there. So really powerful tool. Make sure to use it. Thank you, EMP Shield, Corrado Zapataro, Andrew Belfar. Thank you, everybody that popped over to PayPal during the show. If you did it during the last 45 minutes, then it will be on the next show. We will check that before the next show. So thank you so much. Make sure to go over to the website. All of the information is there. Have a great night. Love you guys, and we'll update you on news. Make sure to subscribe to Marfoogle News, that main channel. We have more info coming out, and if we actually verify that information, we will make sure to bring that to you over on Marfoogle News. Thank you, Dex. Love you.
Much love, brother. Great show.
It is now time for the shoutro. It's not an outro. It's not a shoutro. Dang it. It's not an outro. It's not a shout-out. It's a shoutro.
We will get
Ball Fur, Survival Living, Bible Talk for Common People, Madata Suki. Thank you so much for your support tonight. We have Zippy Moons. Thank you so much for, looks like, being the top supporter tonight. Common People, Madata Suki. M. Menching, thank you for being number 2 over on D Live. Release the Quacken, thank you. It's Jay 502, thank you for being here. M. Menching, thank you for gifting out badges over on D Live. Chance Bowden, Venus L, Caspin Sparks, Miss Jammer, Pam Beth, Bear Claws. We've got Greifel, West of the West, Skyhouse, Mary XX, Roaming Wolf, 1 on B. Thank you.
It's time to take our country back. It's time to act. As we walk on down, we hear the song. We know it's not over. It's time to take our country back.
You know who I haven't talked to in a long time? Trinity, I hope you're okay out there. I don't know where the heck you are. Probably cheating on me, modding with somebody else. I hope you're okay, if you're healthy. I hope you're getting better. Love ya. West Virginia Prepper. Miss ya. All right, let's make a fresh one. Let's see. Hey, Gone Girl 777, I hope you're out there and you're safe. Okay. Oh, that's why.